The movie begins with the female lead, Jia Yu, running through the hallways of her high school with a big smile on her face. Today is her graduation day, and she has finally managed to get the phone number of her crush, Chi Zhen, who she has been in love with for the past 3 years. Jia Yu is on top of the world until the other students snatch up the paper with Chi Zhen's number and throw it away along with their study notes. She desperately tries to look for the piece of paper, but it's no use. While she feels defeated, all hope is not lost because she is enrolled in the same university as Chi Zhen. The scene then changes to the first day of her freshman year. As soon as Jia Yu steps onto the campus, she is blocked by a reporter who asks her the reason for choosing this university. She is too embarrassed to admit that she followed her crush, so she tries to evade the reporter. Just when she's cornered and is trying to come up with an answer, Chi Zhen walks by and all of Jia Yu's thoughts come to a halt. She is unable to stop the smile that spreads on her face as she stares at him in a daze. Jia Yu still remembers the day she met Chi Zhen for the first time. She was late for school, so the teacher dragged her to stand along with other latecomers. As she waited for her punishment, Chi Zhen, who was standing next to her, helped her escape while the teacher wasn't paying attention. It was a small incident, but ever since then, Chi Zhen has imprinted on her heart, and he is all she wants. Unable to find the courage to talk to him directly, Jia Yu spent a lot of time clumsily spying on him. When she overheard that Chi Zhen was going to a medical university, she studied day and night to get into the same university as well. But even now when she's close to him, she still doesn't have the courage to go up to Chi Zhen, so she silently turns back to leave. To her surprise, Chi Zhen seems to recognize her and calls out to her. She nervously watches as he walks up to her and introduces himself as her high school classmate, thinking that Jia Yu doesn't remember him. Unbeknownst to him, Jia Yu is over the moon that she finally has the chance to talk to him. He offers to strike up a friendship, to which she readily agrees. They then decide to go to their dormitories together, but before they can make it to the building, it starts raining. So they quickly take shelter in front of a store. Watching another couple running in the rain with a jacket over their head, Jia Yu starts imagining her and Chi Zhen in the same situation. As she is lost in her fantasy, she starts grinning subconsciously, which confuses Yi Chen, and he asks her why she's so happy. This jolts her back to reality, and she covers up by saying that she is reminded of Totoro, who would stand in the rain with a leaf over his head. This seems to give Chi Zhen an idea, and he starts unbuttoning his shirt. Jia Yu is excited, thinking maybe her daydream is coming true. But to her utter disbelief, Chi Zhen uses his shirt to cover his own head and runs off, leaving her awkwardly standing by herself. Chi Zhen then comes back with 2 large leaves so they can use them as umbrellas. Seeing this playful behavior, Jia Yu is even more enamored with him. Just as they're about to step out, Chi Zhen's friend casually strolls out of the store with an umbrella in hand. Embarrassed, the two of them go inside the store to buy some for themselves. If they can't use the leaves, then Jia Yu plans to have the two of them share an umbrella. She does a lot of plotting to make her plan successful. But just as they step out into the rain suddenly stops. Let down, she slowly walks to the dorms with Chi Zhen before parting ways. Jia Yu then remembers they forgot to exchange WeChat ideas and hastily turns back, but this time, Chi Zhen is out of sight. Still, she is grateful that at least she has the leaf that Chi Zhen brought for her. Little did she know that when she returned home, her father would use that leaf to wrap meat and cook it. As the days go by, Jia Yu settles into university life, but she still has not talked to Chi Zhen since the first day of school. It's not that she never runs into him, it's that she's been avoiding him due to her insecurities. After successfully avoiding him for a few days, she ultimately gets caught when a teacher asks the two of them to hang the college emblem together. She tries to hide her face with ponytails, but Chi Zhen gets curious and in the end manages to uncover her face. He's confused as to why she's trying to hide from him, but she truthfully replies that she's insecure about her appearance. Chi Zhen bursts out laughing, greatly amused by her antics. This time, they manage to add each other on WeChat. At night, when Jia Yu looks through his WeChat photos, she despairs when she sees that almost every post is liked by her roommate Yao. Her love rival Yao, on the other hand, has her own troubles with Kai Chi, who keeps hitting on her and using cheesy pickup lines. The next day, Chi Zhen and Jia Yu coincidentally run into each other and decide to have a drink together. She is just happy to spend time with her crush, but then Chi Zhen starts acting weird. He puts down his bottle of juice and snatches hers too, before putting his jacket over her shoulders, claiming that it's cold outside. For a moment, she is happy to wear his jacket, but once Chi Zhen runs into the store, Jia Yu realizes that she got her period, and there is a bloodstain on the back of her dress. While she tries to deal with her embarrassment, Chi Zhen runs into Yao, who helps them pick out a pad for Jia Yu. She even offers to take Jia Yu back to their room, but before they can leave, Kai Chi comes across the three of them. He crashes his bike while staring at Yao, but this doesn't stop him from hitting on her again. Starting this day, Jia Yu becomes friends with Yao and Kai Chi, but both of them have ulterior motives. While Kai Chi tries to get close to Jia Rule to get to know more about Yao, Yao becomes good friends with her to get closer to Chi Zhen. In addition, Jia Yu herself is working hard to get closer to Chi Zhen. She joins all the clubs that he's in and plays it off as coincidence. To keep up with the facade, she even spends all her hard-earned money to buy a camera for the photography club. While she is busy doing all the club activities, she finds out that Chizen has quit all the clubs except for the photography club. Seeing all her efforts go to waste, she immediately goes to quit as well, but none of the clubs allow her to quit so easily. A few days later, Kaichi gathers Ji-Yu and Chizen for a meeting. Noticing that he isn't getting anywhere with Yao, he recruits his two friends for help. But before Kaichi's plan can even be put into action, he realizes that the one Yao likes is Chizen. Chizen feels bad for his friend and wants to make it up to him. So at night, he texts Jia-Yu and asks her what he should do to fix things with Kaichi, who is now angry at him. Jia-Yu is overjoyed when she sees a message from Chizen. She is thrilled to chat with him and gets anxious when he stops replying to her messages. She puts down her phone on the table, only to peek at the screen again and again, and every time she gets a notification. But none of them are from Chizen. When she is about to retire for the night, she gets another notification, but before she can see what it is, she trips, drops her phone, and it stops working. As it turns out, the last notification was indeed from Chizen. He talks to her about it the next morning before asking if she would like to pair up with him in the next assignment for photography club. Of course, Jia-Yu readily agrees, and so they make plans to go to the park together to take some pictures. The next day, Jia-Yu is in her room trying out many dresses while striking poses in the mirror. It is her first outing alone with Chizen, so she wants to look her very best. At last, she decides on a cute red dress and happily skips to the bus station to wait for Chizen. Her delight soon changes to horror when she sees a middle-aged woman at the bus stop wearing the exact same dress as her. She quickly distances herself from the woman and tries to hide. She cannot let Chizen think that she has the fashion sense of a middle-aged woman. Unfortunately, when she gets on the bus with Chizen, she sees that the bus has more middle-aged women with the same dress. Defeated, she can only shrink in her seat and wait for the bus to reach their destination. When they reach the park, Chizen reveals that along with the pictures of the landscape, they have a few portraits to do as well. So they decide to model for each other. While they are looking through the pictures that they have taken throughout the day, a thief sneaks up behind them and runs away with Chizen's wallet. When Jia-Yu notices this, she springs up and starts chasing him through town. After chasing him for a long time, she finally manages to get the wallet back, but it turns out that Chizen's wallet never had any money in it to begin with. Tired and frustrated that all the effort was for nothing, they take the bus back to the university. Because she's so exhausted, she ends up dozing off, and her head relaxes onto Chizen's shoulder. He doesn't wake her up and awkwardly lets her rest. The next day, Jia-Yu wakes up with a terrible neck pain, but it surprisingly goes away when she whips her head to look at Chizen after she hears his voice at a supermarket. That day, she finds out that he works there as a cashier. So now, she finds excuses to go to the supermarket every day. One day when she goes to the supermarket with the excuse of buying lunch, she sees Yao making a move on him. She asks him out for dinner, but he refuses, explaining that he's working the night shift. Feeling jealous, Jia-Yu recklessly swings her hand and ends up slapping the owner of the store. Horrified, she watches the vases the owner was carrying as they roll on the floor. Needless to say, the owner is very angry. He forces her to work in the supermarket until she repays him for all the damage she's caused. This ultimately turns out to be a blessing in disguise for Jia-Yu, as now she can be with Chizen every day for the next week. As the two work together, they find themselves growing closer every day. And on the last day of work, Chizen reveals that he only wanted to earn extra money in order to buy a Totoro plushie for Jia-Yu. She is overjoyed hearing this and says he could just treat her to dinner instead. Chizen then takes her to eat spicy food she likes, even though he has a hard time eating it. Feeling happy that Chizen is being so considerate, she goes to buy him some herbal tea to soothe his burning tongue. When she returns, Chizen surprises her with a Totoro headband, which she wears on her head with a big smile. The scene then skips to a few days later where Kaichi discovers that Jia-Yu has a crush on Chizen. Not only does Kaichi agree to keep it a secret, he also offers to help bring them closer together. His reasoning is that if Jia-Yu dates Chizen, then Yao would definitely choose him. He makes all sorts of plans with Jia-Yu, but unfortunately, he's a terrible wingman. In a last-ditch attempt to impress Chizen, Jia-Yu decides to put on a pair of heels and dress up. But Jia-Yu, who usually only wears sports shoes, is terrible at walking in heels. Seeing her uncomfortably stumble around campus, Chizen buys her a pair of comfortable slippers. With the few extra inches of height given by the heels gone now, Chizen starts teasing her about being short. Jia-Yu gets annoyed, and they start play fighting. Yao comes across the scene and instantly notices that Jia-Yu has feelings for Chizen. She doesn't say anything as she passes them, but from that moment on, she begins ignoring them. Jia-Yu tries to reconcile, but all her clumsy attempts end up causing more trouble for Yao instead. One night while scrolling through her phone, Jia-Yu discovers that someone impersonating her has posted a love confession for Chizen on the university's confession wall. She suspects it's Yao's way of getting revenge, but Yao bluntly says that it's not her before Jiayu even gets a chance to ask. Jiayu starts acting awkwardly, which seems to annoy Yao. She reveals that she's not mad at her because she likes Qizhen, but because of her unwillingness to fight for him. Taking her words to heart, Jiayu embarks on the journey to make herself as pretty as possible to win over Qizhen. She seriously studies makeup tutorials and tries out different makeup styles every day. With the help of Kai Chi, she also makes a plan to slim down. Seeing her only eat vegetables, Qizhen grows worried that she might not have enough money for food and takes it upon himself to feed her. Even when Qizhen gives her a lot of unhealthy food, she cannot bring herself to decline. So as a result, she ends up gaining weight instead. One day during her conversation with Kai Chi, Qizhen overhears them and finds out that she's trying to get in shape for her crush, unaware that he is the said crush. Qizhen asks her who she likes, but Jiayu refuses to tell him. Ever since that day, she feels he's been trying to distance himself from her. While she is racking her brain on how to make up with him, Yao weakly stumbles into the room and then promptly faints from exhaustion. Jiayu quickly brings her to the hospital, and Qizhen and Kai Chi also rush in after hearing the news. Although it was a grim incident, it ends up fixing the friendship between Yao and Jiayu, and Jiayu's relationship with Qizhen also becomes better starting that day. But some things still remain the same, like Kai Chi's pursuit of Yao. Sick of his antics, Jiayu advises him to be straightforward and sincerely confess his feelings. But ultimately, even his sincere confession is rejected. Yao likes Qizhen, so it's impossible for her to accept someone else's love. Moreover, she's planning to confess to Qizhen the next day. When Jiayu hears of this, she is shocked beyond belief, but Yao reminds her that he is fair game, and she could confess to Qizhen if she wants. Agitated by Yao's words, Jiayu tries to confess to Qizhen many times throughout the day, but every time she is unsuccessful because she just can't muster the courage to do so. Restless, she goes to the park to see Yao and Qizhen shaking hands and assumes that Qizhen has accepted her confession. Heartbroken, she cries the whole night and then miserably ices her swollen eyes the next morning. When Yao enters the room, she refuses to hear a single word she has to say and quickly escapes. From that day on, Jiayu starts avoiding Qizhen. She can't bear to look at him without falling to pieces. When Kai Chi finds out about all this, he is let down by his friend's betrayal. He acts aggressive and starts picking fights with him. Qizhen finally has enough and drags him out for a confrontation. Just when the argument is getting heated, Qizhen says that he actually rejected Yao. Kai Chi's anger deflates like a balloon, and he quickly apologizes to Qizhen, revealing that it was Jiayu who misunderstood the situation and told Kai Chi the wrong information. Qizhen thinks the whole thing is ridiculous because the one he likes has always been Jiayu. And so, he is faced with yet another problem: how to clear up the misunderstanding between him and Jiayu when she doesn't even give him a chance to breathe near her. One day, while Jiayu is conducting a free medical inspection for the college students, Qizhen takes his chance to visit her. This time too, she tries to run away, but he drags her away before she has a chance to flee. Standing on the rooftop, Qizhen confesses everything to Jiayu, how he had never accepted Yao's confession, and how he had liked Jiayu ever since high school. Jiayu cannot believe her ears and is shocked to hear that this entire time she was in love with Qizhen, it turns out that he was in love with her too. After experiencing all the ups and downs, getting together is easy for them, but acting like a couple is still not so easy. Jiayu wants to hold hands and go on dates, so she can't help but get frustrated when Qizhen doesn't seem to take the hint. Noticing that she's dissatisfied with him, Qizhen realizes his mistake and tries to make it up to her. The next day, he brings her out on a date on the rooftop. He has already decorated it with beautiful lights and balloons. Jiayu is moved by his sincerity and jumps up to plant a loving kiss on his cheek. Their relationship steadily advances from this day onwards, but the same cannot be said for her grades. When the exam results come out, she is horrified to learn that she's failed. Tormented by her bad grades, she forgets everything and focuses on reading her textbooks, but she still feels dissatisfied with her slow progress. Qizhen then takes matters into his own hands when he sees Jiayu doing ridiculous occult rituals to get good marks, along with Kai Chi, who has also failed his exams. He steps up to act as Jiayu's tutor, but Kai Chi is still stranded. So, the three of them hatch a plan to get Yao to agree on tutoring him. After a lot of coaxing and bribing, Yao finally agrees. While she tutors him, Kai Chi still doesn't stop pestering her about love and romance. Somehow, he successfully makes her promise to fulfill one of his wishes if he passes the exam. And after a long day of rigorous studying, he does end up passing. But Kai Chi himself never expected to pass, so he didn't know what to ask her. He only knows that he wants to spend time with her. This is when Jiayu comes forward and tells him to ask Yao to become her intern boyfriend. To his utter surprise, Yao actually ends up agreeing, making him cheer in joy. Days pass, and the antics of the four of them have not ceased. Recently, Jiayu and Kai-Chi have joined forces to figure out Qizen's weaknesses. But even when trying out new methods from tickling to arm wrestling, Qizen easily overcomes every trial. He even has great luck that lets him win rock, paper, scissors every single time. But Jiayu, through her girlfriend privileges, has finally managed to figure out his weaknesses. Qizen is afraid of ghosts. When she takes him out to watch a horror movie, Qizen is shaking and screaming the whole time. This also gives her an idea for her next part-time job. Jiayu wants to earn money to buy a surprise gift for Qizen's birthday party. So, to keep it a secret from him, she gets a job at a haunted house because it's the last place he would ever enter. Since she goes to her job secretly every day, she is not free to spend time with him, which makes him think she is avoiding him. Kai-Chi advises he take her out to a movie to make up with her, but the movie Jiayu wants to see is a horror movie. So, Kai-Chi takes him to a haunted house to build up his resistance towards spooky things. But it seems that Kai-Chi is just as afraid of ghosts. The two men scream and cry together as they make their way through the haunted house. Jiayu's identity as an employee is also revealed as Qizen recognizes her at first glance and chases her around until he captures her. After getting caught, Jiayu cannot do anything but smile sheepishly. While Qizen discovers her job, she also discovers that Qizen is not actually afraid of ghosts and was just pretending to be scared in order to make her happy. After all is said and done, they decide to forgive each other for their lying and proceed with their sweet relationship. The series ends on Valentine's Day. After many months of chasing after Yao, Kai-Chi finally ends his boyfriend's internship and becomes her actual boyfriend. At the same time, Qizen prepares a gorgeous surprise double date for Jiyu together with Yao and Kai-Chi. The four of them celebrate together and make a toast to live a long and happy life as a family, ending the series on a happy note.